What is up, guys? Rick Hackus here, and in this video we are going to go over all of the new Destiny information that was revealed today. Now, a lot of this is pertaining to the official Bungie Rise of Iron stream that aired earlier today, detailing the changes to the updated Cosmodrome that will be coming with the Rise of Iron expansion. So we are going to be going over all of the changes, all of the updates, all of the information that was revealed in that stream, both intentionally and somewhat unintentionally, going over some of the stuff that we noticed that wasn't officially revealed, and also going over some of the stuff that was revealed but wasn't pertaining to this official stream. So you've got a ton of Destiny information to cover today, so let's get started. First and foremost, we're going to start with the new pre-order bonus that you get for pre-ordering the Rise of Iron, which is the Gjallarwing sparrow. Yes, a Gjallarhorn inspired sparrow that is going to be introduced in the Rise of Iron expansion. Now again, you get this as a pre-order incentive, so if you pre-order the Rise of Iron, you will receive the Iron Gjallarwing. There's actually going to be another version of the Gjallarwing, just the normal Gjallarwing, that players who don't pre-order this DLC can go and buy in the Eververse store. That's what Deej said. Now again, if you pre-order, you get the Iron version, so it's going to be a black and silver version of the Gjallarwing, just like you can get the Iron Gjallarhorn, which is a black and silver version of the normal Gjallarhorn that players can just earn through a quest. Now, this is just a classic pre-order bonus. It's giving players an incentive to go and pre-order this DLC while not screwing over the players who don't pre-order this DLC. I have really no problem with this, because if you don't pre-order the DLC, missing out on a sparrow is not going to have any meaningful impact on gameplay. Now let's move on to what was revealed in the updated Cosmodrome. Now firstly, the Cosmodrome is getting a pretty substantial facelift. There's snow everywhere, and there's a lot of new objects and a new scenery to look at. But more so, and more importantly, one of my main questions about the updated Cosmodrome has been answered. Now I made a whole video on this, so I'm not going to spend too much time in this video, but essentially I was wondering, with the updated Cosmodrome, are we just going to get a purely aesthetic facelift? Is it just going to look different, or are we actually going to get new areas to go, new places to explore? Thankfully, the answer to that question is yes. There is going to be entirely new areas that you can explore in the Cosmodrome. The first place that was showed off was in the massive Cosmodrome wall. There's an area that right now, if you try to jump to it, you will just die. It's out of bounds. But in the stream, they were actually playing on this area. There's a bunch of snow there now. The roof has been consumed for building materials, so now that's open air. And again, this is just a new place that, because this area was updated, you can go somewhere that you couldn't before. Now, this is kind of a minor example. The major example was that right now, if you go to the rocket yard, there's an area just before you start to embark on the Devil's Lair strike. There's an area to the right where it's just kind of a wall. There's nothing really there, it's just a wall. And specifically, there's a metal part of this wall where now in the Rise of Iron, there's a hole in it. There's actually a hole in this wall where right now there's nothing, and this hole leads to a new area. And they kind of stuck their heads in here, and they said that, alright, we're not going to show too much more of this area because we don't want to spoil things for the Rise of Iron. There was a reverse splicer captain in here that they were kind of fighting with and messing with, and then they kind of backed out and continued on with the tour. But this really shows that an entirely new area has been added with this updated Cosmodrome, so that is great news. It just means more content for players with the Rise of Iron. And frankly, that's really all of the things that were actually revealed officially in this stream. That's really all of the things that Bungie wanted to go over, wanted to accomplish with this stream. So it really wasn't much. However, there was some more things that were kind of noticed, not officially revealed in this stream. First and foremost, there is an entirely new patrol activity. As you can see by this screenshot I took here, you can see a new symbol, and this again wasn't even mentioned by Bungie. It's just kind of randomly came up as Deej was going by this patrol beacon, but is a new symbol for a new patrol activity. This symbol is actually the symbol for Siva, which is kind of this, technological virus. It is the main enemy that you're fighting in the Rise of Iron. As you can see, this symbol reappears right here in another screenshot. Again, it represents Siva. So this is a new patrol activity related to the new enemy in the Rise of Iron. I'm curious to see what this is. Right now, no one knows what this is going to be. It could be something very simplistic. In fact, I'm kind of expecting it to be something rather simplistic. In fact, when the Taken King came out and a new patrol activity was added there, you know, the Skull and Crossbones patrol activity where you go to an area and fight Taken, it's probably going to be very similar to that. In fact, it may actually replace that patrol activity. You no longer, since the Taken are pretty much taken care of, pun not intended, but now maybe you go in and that patrol activity is no longer available and it's now this new Siva activity, so that is interesting. Moving on, let's talk about some of the new weapons and armor that were also revealed today. So first and foremost, I mean, you guys have been seeing gameplay this whole time of this new kind of orange and blue pulse rifle, so that's kind of neat, but we also have a new Suros auto rifle that another player was using in stream. Now this actually kind of have what looked like bullet holes in this auto rifle, so that is definitely a neat aesthetic touch. I'm not exactly sure if this auto rifle acts any different than the auto rifles we currently have in game, but it definitely looks a little cooler, I would say. Now, some more armor was generally just seen and revealed in stream. This one Titan has some pretty cool red armor, kind of like blocky red armor that I do appreciate, but pretty interestingly, some screen grabs, and this was from Reddit user Kiltman of Scots, and he actually compiled all of the different shots of the new Iron Banner armor that you can see in the Gjallarwing reveal trailer. As you can see right here, it shows a bunch of different angles of the Titan and also what looks like the new Hunter Iron Banner armor as well. Very interestingly, one of those screenshots has on the back of the Titan is what looks like the exotic Kostoff is making yet another appearance. Now that was pretty much it for the new weapons and armor that we saw today. Aside from that, there was some new shotguns, but frankly they looked exactly the same as the shotguns currently in the game with a slightly different skin, so those really weren't too exciting. Now, one more piece of information that I do want to go over, it wasn't revealed in the stream, but it is kind of a big deal, is this picture here, talking about PlayStation exclusive stuff for the Rise of Iron. Now, I'm sure this is definitely going to be, you know, quite the topic of discussion in the comment section, but this picture appears to show some of the bonuses that will be awarded to PlayStation players with the Rise of Iron, but it just says PvP multiplayer map, questline, and reward. Let's hope it stays like that. I know the Xbox players would rather have it perfectly even, but unfortunately that's just not how things are working with Destiny right now. But I do think it's absolute BS when Xbox players don't get exotics. Exotics are really the only things holding up the entire Destiny loot system, and one of the main reasons people still play Destiny, trying to complete their exotic collection, and having something like the April update come out with only one new exotic, and that exotic isn't even on Xbox. That is complete BS. So I hope this is the only things that PlayStation players are getting. It is a nice incentive if you have a PlayStation and it doesn't completely screw over the Xbox players, but we'll have to see if this remains the only PlayStation exclusive bonus. It is not yet confirmed. This is the only thing for PlayStation players, but it does look like at least one of the things the PlayStation players are getting. Now, actually, one more thing I do want to quickly cover is that during the stream, Deej had to go into his menu and it was quickly captured that he was 355 light. Now, of course, some people are saying that this is going to be the new max light level. I don't think this at all. I don't think the people playing the stream tried to reach the max light level by any means, and also it was said a lot earlier that the Rise of Iron will feature a substantial light increase. 335 to 355 is anything but substantial. This is, I'm sure, just kind of a random number of what Deej's gear happened to be when he was playing the stream, and I don't think this really means anything. However, speaking of levels, something that is quite interesting, and the last thing we're going to talk about before we wrap up the video here, is that during the stream, all of the enemies were level 42. Very interesting, and it again goes into the point of that patrol mode is hopefully getting updated with the Rise of Iron. People have been calling for patrol mode to get upgraded for so long. I think a lot of players agree that patrol mode kind of seems like a huge missed opportunity. So much of the map in Destiny you basically never go to because patrol mode just isn't really rewarding, especially for, veteran players who've been playing the game a lot. So hopefully with the Rise of Iron we will see an updated patrol mode, because if you go to those areas in the Cosmodrome right now, those enemies are much lower than level 42. So hopefully again, patrol mode is being brought up, is a lot harder, a lot more interesting, a lot more substantial rewards associated with it as well. And this could also go into some of the new patrol activities that again we talked about earlier in the video. And speaking of the enemies, we did also get to see some of the new Splicer enemy faction that we will be facing in the Rise of Iron. There seem to be some little changes. For example, the Splicer Servitor shot a lot faster. The bullets had more seeking properties, I would say, but they did a lot less damage. So they've just kind of been upgraded and changed with certain minor abilities. Now that is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something new. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you want to see more Destiny content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day. Now, I got to play Titanfall 2 recently at EA Play. I was invited out to LA to attend a special Titanfall 2 event where myself and a few other YouTubers were able to play the game for a decent amount of time early. We were also given some exclusive Titanfall 2 multiplayer gameplay, which you can see playing in the background during this video. A lot of it was from the trailer, but there's actually quite a bit of it kind of extended beyond what was in the trailer, and actually featuring some new weapons that weren't seen in the official multiplayer trailer, so that's definitely pretty cool for Titanfall fans. Now let's get started by discussing what new features were added in the Titanfall 2 multiplayer.